Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're going to be checking out some very cool battles in the Open Master League featuring a level 50 perfect IV Shadow Ursaluna. These battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, so many thanks for the battle submission. Ursaluna is a normal and ground type Pokemon with the moveset of Tackle, Thunder Punch, and High Horsepower, and this trainer pairs it up with a Zacian and a Dragonite to take on the 3500 ELO meta. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out Perfect IV Shadow Ursaluna in action in the Master League. Hopping to the first match, picking up a pretty nice lead, Zacian into the mirror. The back line doesn't really want to see Zacian, so it is very nice to catch it on the lead. Both these Zacians are running Quick Attack. He goes for the Play Rough, but he ends up losing CMP. One charge move is not going to be fatal, so he's going to let the Play Rough through and then fire back with a Play Rough of his own. Opponent probably going to be no-shielding this as well, since they know they will be able to survive it. He is going to win CMP on the Close Combat, however. Close Combat fired onto the opponent. Opponent commits the shield, and at this point, he can just let it go and choose to get farm on Shadow Ursaluna. In comes Shadow Ursaluna, looking for the farm down, and it gets it. That is quite nice. In comes Dialga, and oh my goodness, this opponent must be incredibly weak to Ursaluna. Dialga is going to fire off an Iron Head. Ursaluna is going to commit the shield, as Iron Head would do quite a bit of damage. Ursaluna is going to bait with a Thunder Punch here. Thunder Punch bait, gets the shield from Dialga. That's big, continuing to farm. It's a Giratina Origin in the back, and the opponent's backline is absolutely core broken by Ursaluna. In comes Dragonite. Dragonite is going to tank the Shadow Ball and continue to farm. Dragonite going for the Dragon Claw. This Dragon Claw is going to get the Giratina very low. Giratina able to hang on and reach a last second Ominous Wind. And from here, Ursaluna is going to finish this game. In comes Ursaluna. Bring back in Dialga. Ursaluna going for the High Horsepower. One-shots Dialga. And that is a good game. Same leads in the next match, leading into another Zacian mirror, but this opponent is running Snarl on their Zacian instead of Quick Attack, and Snarl performs a lot worse in the mirror. The opponent is going to fire off their energy, they go for the Play Rough. Zacian continues to farm, and it's at the back-to-back Wild Charges, firing off the first move onto the opponent. Wild Charge gets the shield, opponent goes for a catch onto Giratina Origin, and Giratina is going to be met with Dragonite. Both Dragonite and Shadow Ursaluna have very dominant matchups against Giratina. Giratina fires off the Shadow Ball. Dragonite is going to farm up and go for the Dragon Claw. This Dragon Claw will do quite a bit of damage onto the Giratina, getting the Giratina low, and Dragonite gets the farm down. Unfortunately, this Zacian is going to be able to get a nice farm on the Dragonite, because Dragonite can only hit for resisted damage here. Dragonite fires off the single resistant superpower. Zacian is able to tank it. Zacian looking for the Snarl farm down. Second superpower, able to land. Zacian does get the farm down. His Zacian does have energy, but it's going to lose CMP to the opponent. That is quite unfortunate. Wild Charge gets the shield. He is going to be firing off a Wild Charge of his own. Opponent does have back-to-back moves here. Wild Charge is shielded, and a beautiful catch. No way. Catching the Wild Charge onto Shadow Ursaluna. In the back is Dialga. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. Decent lead in the next match, Zacian into Togekiss. Very nice to catch the Charmer on the lead, considering he is running a Dragonite in the back. Zacian continues to farm. Zacian is going to start unloading the Wild Charges, firing off the first one. Wild Charge does get shielded by the opponent. Zacian continues to farm. Opponent goes for a catch onto Garchomp. Garchomp will be met with Dragonite. This can only be a Sand Tomb, so Dragonite does not have to shield this. And then you can farm up, take a little bit of extra damage just to ensure that Toge is not going to get a lot of farm here. Dragonite is going to fire off the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw plus a Dragon Breath is enough to KO. And now, Togekiss comes back in and farms down the Dragonite. Zacian very close to the back-to-back Wild Charges here, firing off the first one. Wild Charge is going to get the shield. Togekiss goes for the farm down, but Zacian says no. Able to reach a last-second Wild Charge. Wild Charge takes out the Togekiss. In the back is Giratina. Get absolutely walled by Shadow Ursaluna. All charge moves here are going to be double resisted. They go for the Shadow Ball. That just does absolutely nothing. And Ursaluna is going to return fire with a Shadow High Horsepower. High Horsepower, big damage. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. Picking up a great lead in the next match, Zacian into Dialga. Opponent save switches into their own Zacian, but they are running Snarl instead of Quick Attack, and as you can see, Snarl does absolutely no damage in the mirror, whereas the Quick Attacks add up quite a bit. Zacian is going to farm up to the back-to-back Wild Charges and begin to unleash them. Firing off the first Wild Charge, that's going to land. Second Wild Charge will KO unless the opponent commits the shield. Wild Charge does get the shield, farming up, going for a catch onto Ursaluna, but unfortunately the opponent is able to hold on to their energy, and now they're going to unleash close combats. They do have the back-to-back close combats. He's going to let the second close combat go. That does big damage. Ursaluna able to withstand it. In comes Dialga. Ursaluna not able to reach high horsepower, hoping the opponent lost count. And they did, as the opponent respects the high horsepower. That is massive. In comes Zacian. Zacian going for the close combat, but loses CMP to Dialga. This is a very safe shield, knowing that you're going to be able to land a close combat onto Dialga and deal massive damage. Aggressive switch into Dragonite, and Dragonite farms down the switch lock Dialga. In the back, the opponent has a Giratina altered, and this should basically be game over, because Dragonite in the zeros, especially with an energy lead, can do very well here. Dragonite is going to fire off the second Dragon Claw. This will get the Giratina deep into the red. Opponent is going to switch into Zacian. Zacian gets Dragon Breath down. In comes the Giratina, but Giratina is not reaching double Dragon Claw. First one lands, Giratina gets farmed down, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading into yet another Zacian mirror. This opponent is running Quick Attack as well, so this should be a very neutral mirror match. He's going to farm up. Opponent will fire off a charge move just before he reaches the back-to-back. Opponent goes for the Wild Charge, and they debuff themselves first. That is big because they have to start shielding now. Fires off the Wild Charge, goes for the Wild Charge catch onto Ursaluna, but the opponent saw it coming. They hold on to their energy, and now they're going to be able to reach two close combats. First one gets shielded. They reach the second close combat. We see a double shield from Ursaluna. Opponent is going to send in Yveltal, but Shadow Ursaluna does have quite a bit of energy and should be able to reach the double Thunder Punch. First Thunder Punch coming through, gets Yveltal low. Shadow Ursaluna able to reach the second Thunder Punch, and now Yveltal has to shield to land this Focus Blast. Yveltal will give up the final shield. This Focus Blast is going to be taking out the Shadow Ursaluna, but now he can send in his Dragonite and get a nice energy lead. Dragonite able to farm down. We'll have to see, do they bring in the Zacian or do they bring in the final Pokemon? And they bring in Dialga. Has to watch for the catch. Opponent goes for the catch, and he's going to aggressively switch into Zacian and fire off the Wild Charge. Wild Charge KOs the opponent Zacian. In comes Dialga. Zacian able to reach the close combat, and this will be game over. Close combat taking care of Dialga and securing the win. Neutral lead in the next match, Zacian into Kyogre. This is a matchup where having Wild Charge can definitely come in handy if you're the Zacian. Zacian gonna farm up quite a bit of energy here. Kyogre over farming as well, because Kyogre doesn't want to throw the Surf until Zacian debuffs itself. Wild Charge gets shielded. Kyogre is going to fire off the Surf now that Zacian is debuffed. Zacian is going to commit the shield. Zacian firing off Wild Charge number 2. This will deal massive damage or grab the final shield. Able to get the final shield. In comes Dragonite, and the opponent fires off the Surf. That is big. That's wasted energy from the opponent. Opponent is going to send in Dialga, looking for the farm down. He's going to overfarm slightly and then go for the Superpower. This Superpower is going to hurt. Superpower gets Dialga low, but Dialga is able to farm down with 1 HP to spare. Ursaluna tries to snipe with a Tackle, but unfortunately Tackle is not enough to KO. Dialga, Iron Head is able to land. Opponent going to send in Kyogre. These waterfalls are chunking. Shadow Ursaluna able to get to the Thunder Punch. This Thunder Punch will hit for super effective damage, landing on Kyogre, able to tackle down. In the back, the opponent has their own Ursaluna. He needs to reach the double close combats here, and I don't think he's going to get there, because Ursaluna does live 1 close combat. Close combat gets the Ursaluna low. He brings in his own Ursaluna, but I believe the opponent has the back-to-back Thunder Punches here. Shields the first, and he's not able to take out the opponent, as unfortunately, he loses the Ursaluna mirror and loses the match. Great lead in the next match, Zacian into Mamoswine. Mamoswine would absolutely devastate the backline, so it is very nice to catch it on the lead. Zacian is going to farm up to the back-to-back close combats, and fire off the first move. This close combat is going to be shielded by Mamoswine. Mamoswine is going to start unleashing avalanches. Zacian is going to commit the shield. Avalanche number 1. Zacian goes for the extra fast move, and this is going to be avalanche number 2. Zacian is double shielding here. Zacian fires off the close combat before it gets to the back-to-back, not wanting the opponent to catch. Close combat gets shielded. Zacian able to outpace. This close combat is going to KO, and down goes Mamoswine. Opponent sends in Giratina. In comes Shadow Ursaluna, continuing to farm, and the opponent concedes the match. Tough lead in the next match. Zacian into Giratina Origin. Immediate save switch into Ursaluna. Opponent is going to bank some energy and then bring in Dialga. Ursaluna with an energy lead should be quite deadly in this matchup. Ursaluna is going to bait with a Thunder Punch in this matchup and is able to get a shield from Dialga. That's big. These Dragon Breaths are adding up quite a bit on Ursaluna. Ursaluna is going to commit the shield on the Iron Head. Ursaluna continues to farm. Ursaluna at the back-to-back Thunder Punches and firing off the first, hoping to try and grab that final shield. Ursaluna does get the shield. Opponent is going to go for the Iron Head, and he's just going to let this go, trusting that Ursaluna has done its job in getting both shields. And now he's going to send in Zacian. Opponent goes for a catch, but they give up switch, and now Giratina is going to be switch locked in against the Dragonite. This Giratina is running Dragon Pulse, and that nearly one-shots the Dragonite. Dragonite at the last possible second able to reach the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw gets the Giratina low. Giratina is able to farm down. Zacian trying for the quick attack down, but unfortunately Giratina is able to reach a Shadow Ball. Zacian is going to be met with Dialga, and Zacian is going straight for the close combat. Close combat is going to KO Dialga in the back. The opponent has Ho-Oh, and unfortunately this is going to be game over because a Wild Charge is not going to KO, and as of now, Ho-Oh does have the energy for the Brave Bird. Zacian nearly able to clutch as the opponent secures the win. Hopping to the final match, leading Zacian into Dialga. This is a quite nice lead, and Dialga is staying in this matchup, which is even better. Zacian looking to massively overfarm, and Dialga is going to strike first with an Iron Head. Immediate shield from the Zacian. Iron Head would do a ton of damage. Zacian is going to fire off the close combat just before it reaches the back-to-back. This close combat gets the Dialga low. Aggressive save switch into the Ursaluna. Ursaluna met with Gyarados. The question is, does Gyarados know about Thunder Punch? Ursaluna, Thunder Punch, nearly taking out the Gyarados. Gyarados barely able to hang on and reach a last-second Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail lands. Shadow Ursaluna able to tackle down. In the back, the opponent has a Giratina Origin. Giratina is going to be forced to throw a move, but honestly, if it's an Ominous Wind, I don't think it's going to KO. They go for the Shadow Ball. That barely is enough to KO, but the Giratina is switch locked in against the Dragonite, and Dragonite has a dominating matchup here. They go for the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball is able to connect. Dragonite continuing to farm, and Dragonite is going to fire off the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw able to get the shield. Giratina continuing to farm. Dragonite is going to be able to force the final shield here with the Dragon Claw. Giratina, aggressive switch into Dialga. Dialga able to reach an Iron Head, but unfortunately for the opponent, that is not going to save them. Zacian has a shield, farms down, and leaves with the Wild Charge loaded. Wild Charge is resisted, but the Giratina is low enough where that will take out the Giratina, and that is a good game. All in all, some very fun battles featuring a perfect IV Shadow Ursaluna. Ursaluna does have fringe play at best in the Master League, but would really benefit from a higher energy generating fast move like Shadow Claw. With Shadow Claw, Ursaluna would be a true threat in the Master League. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.